Welcome to the incredible story of Jesus' ministry on earth. From the very first miracle at a wedding in Cana all the way to his own resurrection from the grave, this is a story of divine power and boundless compassion. We'll walk through the dusty roads of Galilee and Judea, witnessing how Jesus brought hope to the hopeless and healing to the sick. You'll see ordinary people encounter an extraordinary Savior, watch as nature itself bows to his command, and discover how every miracle points to a deeper truth about who he is. From a blind man receiving his sight to a little girl being raised from the dead, from 5 loaves feeding thousands to a storm being stilled by a word, every account builds toward the ultimate demonstration of God's love and power. In the bustling region of Galilee, Jesus began his public ministry, not with a grand political statement or a display of force, but with a simple act of service that revealed his divine nature. The Gospel of John, chapter 2, tells us about a wedding in the town of Cana. Jesus, his mother Mary, and his disciples were all invited guests. Weddings were joyous, multi-day celebrations, and running out of wine was a major social embarrassment for the host family. Mary, noticing the problem, approached Jesus and simply said, "They have no more wine." Jesus' initial response seemed hesitant, but Mary, with unwavering faith, told the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." Nearby stood 6 large stone water jars, the kind used for ceremonial washing, each holding 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus gave a straightforward command, "Fill the jars with water." So the servants filled them to the brim. Then he said, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." They did as he asked, and when the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine, he was astonished. He didn't know where it came from, but he called the bridegroom aside and praised him, saying, "Everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink, but you have saved the best till now." This wasn't just about saving a family from shame. It was a sign, the first of many, revealing Jesus' glory and causing his disciples to put their faith in him. It showed that with Jesus, the ordinary becomes extraordinary, and the best is always yet to come. From that quiet miracle, the news of Jesus' power began to spread like wildfire. People flocked to him, bringing their sick, their suffering, and their desperate. Mark chapter 1 tells of a man with leprosy, a dreaded disease that made him a social and religious outcast. This man, full of desperation but also full of faith, knelt before Jesus and said, "If you are willing, you can make me clean." He didn't doubt Jesus' power, only his willingness to help someone so unclean. Moved with compassion, Jesus reached out his hand and did the unthinkable. He touched the man. In that culture, touching a leper made you ceremonially unclean. But when Jesus touched him, the power flowed in the opposite direction. Instead of Jesus becoming unclean, the man became clean. Jesus said, "I am willing. Be clean." Immediately, the leprosy left him, and he was cleansed. This was a powerful demonstration that Jesus doesn't just heal our bodies. He welcomes the outcast and cleanses us from the things that isolate us. Soon after, we see another kind of healing, one that bridged the gap between different cultures and social statuses. In Luke chapter 7, we meet a Roman centurion, an officer in the occupying army. This man was not a Jew, yet he had a servant he valued highly who was sick and at the point of death. Having heard about Jesus, he sent some Jewish elders to ask him to come and heal his servant. The elders pleaded earnestly with Jesus, saying, "This man deserves to have you do this, because he loves our nation and has built our synagogue." But as Jesus approached the house, the centurion sent friends to say, "Lord, don't trouble yourself, for I do not deserve to have you come under my roof. That is why I did not even consider myself worthy to come to you. But just say the word, and my servant will be healed." This was a breathtaking display of faith. The centurion, a man of authority, understood the power of a command. He knew that just as his soldiers obeyed his orders, sickness would have to obey Jesus' command. Jesus was amazed. He turned to the crowd following him and said, "I tell you, I have not found such great faith even in Israel." And when the centurion's friends returned to the house, they found the servant completely well. This miracle showed that Jesus' authority transcends physical presence, and that faith, no matter who it comes from, is what truly moves the heart of God. His power was not limited by distance, social standing, or religious background. But Jesus' power wasn't just over sickness, it was over nature itself. One evening, as told in Mark chapter 4, Jesus and his disciples got into a boat to cross to the other side of the Sea of Galilee. Jesus, exhausted from a long day of teaching, fell asleep on a cushion in the stern. Suddenly, a furious squall came up. The waves broke over the boat, and it was nearly swamped. The disciples, many of them experienced fishermen, were terrified. They woke Jesus up, crying out, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" Jesus got up, and with a simple command, he rebuked the wind and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Immediately, the wind died down, and it was completely calm. He then turned to his disciples and asked, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" They were filled with terror and awe, asking each other, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." This event was a profound lesson. The disciples had seen him heal people, but this was different. This was raw, cosmic power. The same creative voice that said, "Let there be light," at the beginning of time, now commanded a storm to cease. It showed them that the one asleep in their boat was the Lord of all creation, and that even in the most terrifying storms of life, he is in control. Perhaps one of the most famous demonstrations of his miraculous power is the feeding of the 5,000, recorded in all four Gospels. A huge crowd had followed Jesus to a remote place to hear him teach. As evening approached, the disciples became worried. They told Jesus, "This is a remote place, and it's already getting late. Send the people away so they can go to the surrounding villages and buy themselves something to eat." But Jesus had a different plan. He replied, "You give them something to eat." They were stunned. "That would take more than half a year's wages," they exclaimed. "Are we to go and spend that much on bread?" Jesus asked them, "How many loaves do you have? Go and see." Andrew, one of the disciples, came back and said, "Here is a boy with 5 small barley loaves and 2 small fish. But how far will they go among so many?" The offering was laughably small for a crowd of over 5,000 men, not to mention women and children. But Jesus took what little they had. He instructed the disciples to have the people sit down in groups on the green grass. Then, taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. He gave them to his disciples to distribute to the people, and he did the same with the fish. What happened next was a miracle of abundance. Everyone ate and was satisfied, not just a small bite, but until they were full. And when it was over, Jesus told his disciples to gather the leftovers so that nothing would be wasted. They collected 12 baskets full of broken pieces of bread and fish. This miracle was a powerful symbol. Jesus is the bread of life, the one who provides for our deepest needs. It teaches us that when we offer our small, seemingly insignificant resources to him, he can multiply them in ways we could never imagine to meet the needs of many. Jesus' power extended even beyond the realms of nature and disease, into the ultimate and final enemy, death itself. In Luke chapter 8, a synagogue leader named Jairus fell at Jesus' feet, pleading with him to come to his house because his only daughter, about 12 years old, was dying. As Jesus was on his way, the crowds thronged him. But then, a messenger arrived from Jairus' house with devastating news. "Your daughter is dead," he said. "Don't bother the teacher anymore." The hope that had surged in Jairus' heart was crushed in an instant. But Jesus, overhearing the message, turned to him and said, "Don't be afraid, just believe, and she will be healed." When they arrived at the house, they found a commotion of people weeping and wailing. Jesus said to them, "Stop wailing. She is not dead, but asleep." They laughed at him, knowing she was dead. But Jesus took her by the hand and called out in a clear, authoritative voice, "My child, get up." Her spirit returned, and at once she stood up. Jesus then told them to give her something to eat. Her parents were completely astonished. This miracle was a stunning preview of the ultimate victory Jesus would win. He showed that he has authority over life and death, that what we see as final is not final for him. For those who believe, Death is merely a sleep from which the voice of the Savior can awaken us. From turning water into wine to calming a raging sea, from healing the sick to raising the dead, every miracle Jesus performed was more than just a supernatural event. It was a signpost pointing to his true identity as the Son of God, the Savior of the world, and the loving King who came to restore all that was broken.